Chapter 32. Leaving. Danny managed a morning's leave before she went. They unwrapped the goose's wing and carefully crated her, drove her back to Duncan's field. She started calling from her crate as they walked down, and the gander flew wild circles above them. Danny took her out and let her slip from his hands into the water. She went with a victorious splash, flapped her wings, and splattered her way to the center of the pond. The male joined her from the sky, and they met with ecstatic bobbing of heads and nipped each other softly. Eleanor took Danny's hand, whispered, "He's so happy to see her." He kissed her softly, looked at her like he was memorizing every line and shape of her. "Don't look at me like that. It feels like you're saying goodbye." "I'm not. I'm remembering you to tide me over till next time. Promise me." He lifted her hand. "This is my promise. I'm marrying you, darling. I've told you before. You are my landing lights." They went for a coffee. She didn't want to go back yet. It was most definitely a goodbye. She feared it had been a mistake to enlist. Danny pressed her knuckles with his thumb. "Darling, you're slipping away from me here. Look me in the eye and listen to me." She did. The late summer sunlight was filtered through the leaves of the giant oak tree under which they sat. It lit up his dark brown eyes in shades of sherry and honey. He had the most beautiful eyes she had ever seen a human possess, framed by black lashes longer than any man had the right to. "Elle, I want you to do this for you. I need you to be all right, to be happy, and I can see the fear eating at you. We have something unusual here between us, and I promise you I'll marry you. The battle as it is now is not sustainable. The Luftwaffe is starting to rush things. They're in a hurry. If we just wait it out, we're touching victory. I want you, whenever you have a moment you can take, to start looking for our place. Look for somewhere we can build a life. It doesn't need to be our white pillars and white roses yet. Just a place where we can begin when we get married. Don't be in too much of a hurry, but when you find it, let me know. It would be best if we rented a little place first, and then when we can start proper, we make a plan to buy. Keep an eye open for something that looks like a home. Will that do as a promise?" She clenched her eyes shut to try and contain the tears, nodded harder. "Thank you, Danny." Then goodbye was upon them, and the tears wouldn't stay contained anymore. "My darling Danny, I miss you frightfully. I got my uniform yesterday, sturdy breeches, long socks and brown shoes, a green jersey, some very itchy shirts, a hat and a light brown overall coat. It's all very strange, but it's most definitely keeping me busy. I'm doing basic training at the moment. Everything is still a bit vague. I'm looking forward to getting placed somewhere. This is more like orientation than actually learning what I'm going to do. Are you all right? How are things holding up? We see the planes overhead, and I try not to watch, try not to be afraid, but I do fear for you. Jan wasn't impressed with my plan. She cried a bit, said I'm abandoning her. Tim said I'm doing the smart thing. He reckons everyone will be enlisted into organized labor soon anyway. I haven't heard from my parents yet, so I don't know what they think of my plans. Please write me soon. All my love, your future wife, Elle.